Hey, everybody, you are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie Brothers. Enjoy the movie. Marine Captain Sam Cahill is set to leave for Afghanistan in a few days. He writes a farewell letter to be given to his wife if he doesn't return home. Sam is a model family man raising two daughters. His younger brother Tommy is the complete opposite. He has just been released from prison after serving time for bank robbery. Tommy attends a family dinner, and the youngest niece immediately tattles on her mom, saying she doesn't like him. Their father, Hank, is angry at Tommy and compares him unfavorably to Sam, who serves his country rather than breaking the law. The dinner ends in an argument, and Hank storms out. As he leaves, Tommy asks his brother to be careful. Sam takes off his wedding ring, and his wife places it on a necklace around her neck. 5 days later, Sam is already traversing the Afghan desert. Soon, the helicopter carrying him and his squad is shot down. Grace, his wife, is taking a bath when two military officers arrive to deliver the devastating news of her husband's death. She cannot accept it and repeatedly dials Sam's mobile number. That night, a drunk Tommy shows up at her house to return a car. Grace seems oddly upset about a broken headlight, and then she tells Tommy what happened to his brother. He is the last to learn about the tragedy because no one could reach him all day. Grace prepares her daughters for the funeral, but the girls refuse to wear black dresses. The widow receives the farewell letter. After the ceremony, Hank drinks, and Tommy tries to take his keys to prevent him from driving drunk. Hank criticizes Tommy again, but Tommy also confronts his father, accusing him of being a poor husband and father who filled Sam's head with military nonsense. It turns out Sam and another soldier, Private Joe, survived. They were captured by the Taliban and thrown into an underground prison. Meanwhile, a drunk Tommy calls Grace at 3 a.m., asking for money. He is short $47 to pay his bar tab, and the bartender is threatening to report him for violating his parole. Grace reluctantly bails him out in the middle of the night and brings him home. He wakes up to the sound of kitchen clatter. The girls are making pancakes to surprise their mom. Hank arrives unexpectedly and is surprised to see his son. Hank apologizes for his behavior the previous day, and Tommy admits that Sam was always smarter than him. "That's not true," Hank replies. "You just never stuck with anything you started. Unlike your brother."
I cut my throat to bring him back, Dad.
A helicopter flies over the Taliban camp. Sam believes they are being searched for and starts prying at the wooden planks of their cell with a rock. The guards threaten him with a gun and place a heavy stone on top of the boards. Tommy remembers his father's comments about Grace's shabby kitchen and, without warning, starts renovating it with his friends. 2 months pass. While Sam tries to stay calm, Private Joe slowly loses his sanity, blaming Sam for saving him and condemning him to this hell. Sam insists Joe never reveal his rank or identity. The Taliban decide to move the captives to another location. They are filmed as they are transported. An Afghan man, accused of revealing their location using a satellite phone to call his pregnant wife, is executed in front of them. The captors demand Sam send a message to America, stating they have no business in Afghanistan, or he will be forced to do so. Back home, Grace mourns her husband while the kitchen renovation continues. The men involve the girls in the work, reminiscing about their father's athletic prowess. Maggie accidentally spills paint on one of the workers, leading Grace to fetch clothes from her husband's wardrobe. In the Taliban camp, Sam is tied to a post and watches as Joe is tortured with hot iron rods. Unable to endure the pain, Joe confesses on camera that Americans have no business in Afghanistan and sends a message to his wife and child. He also reveals that Sam has 2 daughters. The newly renovated kitchen is finished just in time for Grace's birthday. Family and friends gather to celebrate, but she deeply misses one special person. Winter arrives, and during a walk, the elder daughter, Isabel, confides in Tommy that everyone loves Maggie more because she's so sweet.
Except you yourself, Isabel. And everybody loves you.
If Tommy is good at one thing, it's getting along with children. One day, Tommy visits a bank worker he once held at gunpoint and apologizes to her. They talk for an hour. The woman admits she hasn't slept well for 3 years, fearing he would come back to kill her. That evening, Tommy and Grace reminisce about their school years. Grace admits she didn't like him back then because he was always drunk and fighting. Suddenly, they share a passionate kiss. Grace decides to step outside for air, and Tommy breaks down in tears. Throughout this time, Grace has kept Sam's letter unopened. Even now, she doesn't read it. Meanwhile, Sam and Private Joe continue to endure torture. One day, Sam is handed a metal pipe and ordered to kill Joe, who has become a liability to the Taliban. At first, Sam refuses, throwing the pipe away, but a gun is pointed at him, and he is told, "It's either you or him." To the sound of Afghan cries, Sam beats Joe to death with the pipe. The execution is filmed. Tommy visits Grace again, under the pretense of installing decorative moldings. He mentions he'd like to see the girls more often. Later, Hank visits as well, surprised at Tommy's newfound handyman skills. The Taliban camp is attacked by U.S. forces. One of the captors tries to kill Sam, but is shot and falls into a ravine. The camera containing the footage of Sam's ordeal is destroyed in the attack. Finally, Sam is freed. While Tommy plays with the kids in the yard, Grace receives a call informing her that her husband is alive. The family greets him at the airport. Tommy feels both joy and sadness. The daughters eagerly show Sam the new kitchen. Sam lies down on the bed, holding his wife and daughters tightly. Later, Grace joins him in the bathroom, kissing his scars, but Sam is distant and asks her to leave. Hank notices Sam's odd behavior and recalls how he, too, withdrew from his sons after returning from the Vietnam War. At an ice rink, Sam thanks Tommy for looking after his family, admitting he didn't expect such kindness from him. He praises Grace as a wonderful woman but suddenly asks, "Did you sleep with her?" Although Sam understands how it could have happened, believing he was dead, he refuses to be convinced otherwise. He is 100% certain they were intimate.
What's going on in your head?
You guys just look like two teenagers in love out there.
The family of the soldier killed in captivity visits the Cahills. The widow constantly dreams of her husband and, in those dreams, hates Sam for surviving while her Joe didn't. She apologizes to Sam. He lies, saying he didn't see Joe die and knows nothing about his death. One night, Sam snaps. He walks around the house with a gun, placing glasses on a shelf. The next day, he visits a military base and requests to return to active duty, saying he can't stay at home. However, Sam is forced to remain with his family for a while longer. During dinner, the girls joke and laugh, but Sam suddenly lashes out, telling them their chatter isn't funny and asking why they're laughing. Grace tries to calm him, but he leaves the table. Isabel asks when Uncle Tommy will come back, sensing something is wrong with her father. Grace wants Sam to open up about what happened in Afghanistan, but all he cares about is whether she and Tommy were involved. Grace insists nothing happened, reminding him she thought he was dead. Sam remains unconvinced. In the middle of the night, Sam visits Joe's grave. He returns home to find his daughters playing in the yard. Isabel freezes in fear and steps back, clearly terrified of him. Sam hugs his daughters and assures them everything will be okay. Isabel barely holds back tears. Sam tells Grace he thought about their family all night and realizes how lucky he is to have survived. It's Maggie's birthday, and everyone is waiting for Tommy to arrive. He shows up with a girl named Tina, whom he met just an hour earlier. He hopes to lighten the mood, but Tina begins spouting nonsense about the military, and Tommy has to nudge her to stop. She doesn't take the hint and keeps talking. Sam grows tense as the girls become rowdy. He repeatedly scolds Isabel, who complains that Maggie is always loved more and gets the best of everything. Isabel distracts the adults by noisily popping a balloon. Finally, Sam loses his temper and bursts the balloon himself. Isabel has a meltdown, yelling that Sam should have stayed dead. She accuses him of being angry because their mom wants to be with Uncle Tommy instead of him. "They're always making love," she shouts. An awkward silence falls over the room. Maggie asks to go to bed. Before sleep, Isabel apologizes to her mother, admitting she made it all up. "I just don't like Dad," she says, adding that she wishes Uncle Tommy were their father instead. Maggie agrees, saying, "Me too." Sam sits in the living room and asks Grace if the girls prayed before bed. Then, he grabs a crowbar and starts smashing the newly renovated kitchen. He shouts, asking how she could sleep with his brother, even though she knows what he did to return to her. "Do you know what I did with my own hands?" he screams, hitting himself in the head and continuing to destroy the kitchen. At that moment, Tommy enters the house and tries to calm his brother with a hug. Sam pulls a gun and points it at Tommy's head. Police sirens are heard outside. Sam steps outside with the gun in hand. The officers order him to drop the weapon, but he demands to know why they're even there. "We know you're a war hero," one officer says. "A hero?" Sam scoffs. "You don't know what I did." He places the gun to his temple. Tommy and Grace plead with him to stop.
What's going on, sir? Drown it, Tommy.
Sam eventually throws the gun away, and the police arrest him. Finally, Grace opens Sam's farewell letter. In it, he writes about how much he loves her and their daughters. Sam later calls Tommy from the psychiatric clinic for war veterans, seeking reconciliation. Tommy stays with the girls while Grace visits Sam again. She begs him to tell her what happened in Afghanistan and why he's tormenting himself. After his confession, Sam wonders aloud if he can ever live a normal life again after everything that has happened.